Reconstruction information meeting about the Michigan Avenue Reconstruction Project in Ypsilanti Township. My name is Tiffany Oliphant. I'm the Communications Manager for the Washtenaw County Road Commission. I'll be the meeting host today along with our project managers. Emma Sharp, our Communications Associate, will be monitoring the chat. Today, we'll go over some housekeeping items before turning it over to staff for a presentation about the project, and then we will have a question and answer period. Joining us today is James Hui, Project Manager, and Aaron Burkholtz, Senior Project Manager of Construction and Design. The meeting audio and video is being recorded and will be posted to the project page on wcroads.org in a few days. After the presentation, you will be asked to virtually raise your hand during a Q&A. I will provide instructions at that time on how to do this from either your computer, the Zoom app, or your touch-tone phone. The chat feature of this meeting is turned on. If you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to ask it in the chat, and we will address it during the Q&A period. You can find the chat window at the bottom of your screen. The floor is yours, James.
Thank you, Tiffany. My name is James Hui. Thank you again for everybody coming today to learn a little bit more about a Michigan Ave reconstruction job. If you can go to the next page, please. So just a little background information on the location of this job. So you see in the red box on the screen right there, that is our project limits. I'm sure a lot of you will probably have questions about, where our limits start and end. But you can see, in the green box, that's where MDOT jurisdiction is. And understandably, there's a good stretch of Michigan Ave on that in the MDOT portion of the road that needs a lot of work as well. But for our project, we will only be working within the red box of our jurisdiction. Next page. And just a little recap of other projects in the area. We've been working with MDOT and the city of Ypsi and the townships itself. Just coordinating a bunch of projects that's going on. The big one that's happening right now is the US 23 road work. And at the US 23 and US 12 interchange. Again, I understand that, there is quite a bit of work here during the summer, and we're going to try our best to keep it within a time frame of work and get done and complete and out of your way as soon as possible for our stretch of the job. Next page. So here's a quick snippet of the current condition on Michigan Ave. This road is made of concrete and asphalt surfacing. As you can see, and you've probably driven it, there's a lot of patches, a lot of bumps, a lot of cracks, and we're hoping to fix all of this, again, within the county jurisdiction of Michigan Ave with this project. Next page. So here's our plan. Again, our limit is from the I-94 westbound off-ramp to the intersection and just past the intersection of Hewitt. Our reconstruction scope includes removing both the concrete and the asphalt pavement, excavating it to a suitable base, then replacing the curb and gutter that's out there. We'll put back a nice thick layer of stone base, and then we'll pave it back with asphalt. And then there are several sidewalk ramps at the intersection of Hewitt and Michigan Ave that will be improving and repairing to ADA standards. Next page. So why reconstruction? Reconstruction is just one scope of work for a lot of our roads. Reconstruction basically means that we are digging down and removing and replacing a majority of the road material. If you look at this little illustration on the right here, you can see that our potholes that we observe on this road is a big consideration for reconstruction. The amount of potholes, the amount of cracks is an issue based off of our base underneath the pavement. And for us to properly correct this issue, we would have to completely rip everything out and replace it. So that's why we considered a reconstruction on this job to hopefully fix this road for the long term. Next page. So being transparent here with the money that we have granted for this job is contracted with our contractor for $1.14 million. It's a quarter of a mile for five-lane road reconstruction. 88% of this is federal funding, and then 12% is Michigan transportation funding. Just want to reiterate here, it's money that we accept from the state, and if we don't use it, we don't get to use it elsewhere. So that's why we're taking advantage of this money at this time to just get this job done. And looking at this slide, our tentative construction schedule is from May to August. Being in contact with our contractor, we do expect to start early May. Once the contractor does close the road, we're giving them an 8-week time limit. They have to be completed and open within 8 weeks. And then the following couple of weeks would be just for minor stuff that could happen outside of the road closure. That won't impact motorists at all. But again, once we do close the road, we would have an 8-week countdown to when it needs to be opened back up. And if that doesn't happen, then we'll hold the contractor responsible for through other methods. Impact the traffic. Michigan Ave from the I-94 westbound off-ramp to the Hewitt Road intersection and just a little bit past the intersection will be closed completely. Just revisiting the scope again, we are ripping everything out. There will be a big hole where the road used to be. So we highly advise not to move any barricades or try to drive through this area. Your average car would not be able to get in and out of this construction zone. A detour will be placed, and we'll talk a little bit more about the detour in later slides. Understandably, there are businesses, a daycare and preschool and the Wendy's just south of Michigan Ave on Hewitt Road. We will be maintaining one-lane traffic in both directions throughout the entire job. We'll have flaggers on site at a majority of the time, especially during the rush hours of pickup and drop-off times as well. Just to make sure it's as smooth as possible, but there will be an inconvenience for people trying to get to the south side on Hewitt Road. Just please understand, please be patient with us. We are trying our best to make sure you have access. So here's the detour map. This will be our posted detour. This is from Ellsworth Road down to Carpenter to Michigan Ave. It's roughly a 5-mile, 10-minute detour, depending on where you're trying to go. And again, I understand, I apologize in advance. This closure will be inconveniencing a lot of motorists trying to get on 94. I do advise you to, get on 94 at a different entrance or just follow our posted detour as well. Next page. Just a little closer snapshot of our Hewitt Road intersection. So everything that's highlighted in red there will be closed. A lot of it will be ripped out, but we will maintain a pathway for one lane in both directions, north and southbound on Hewitt. We will have barricades at the speedway, at the bank through Michigan Avenue. Again, everything will be closed, and there will be, a large hole where the road used to be on Michigan Avenue. So please plan accordingly on your travels and just avoid this intersection for the 8-week time frame that we have this work. Next page. The ramp closure, a little confusing, so we just want to make sure we properly illustrate everything. You can see that the off-ramp from 94 westbound to Michigan Avenue eastbound will be closed. And then we will close it on Michigan Avenue, just east of the westbound on-ramp. And the westbound on-ramp from westbound Michigan Ave will also be closed because we'll have most of that Michigan Avenue portion closed off already. Next page. Again, to reiterate, Project Limits is closed. We've had a lot of issues in the past where motorists are getting out and moving our barricades or even just running through our barricades. This poses a lot of danger to our workers and to the motorists themselves. There will be large equipment, a lot of materials, a lot of harmful materials potentially to cars. Again, I advise, just avoiding this area as much as possible for your driving and just plan accordingly. If it comes down to it, we would have to call the police enforcement on these closures and just to help us with our closure as well. So again, please, plan accordingly, drive around. We'll try to get this job done as soon as possible with as little inconvenience as possible. So here's my contact information. It's all on the website as well. Please make sure to go online and subscribe to our project updates. We plan to update frequently, and we'll just keep you as posted as we move along the project. I think that's it for my slides.
Yeah, and I'll mention, James, a really well done presentation. To introduce myself, I'm Aaron Burkholtz. I work with James here at the Road Commission in the Design and Construction Department. And really, I appreciate James touching repeatedly on the fact that this road is going to be closed to accommodate the construction. It's the safest and the most efficient way to complete this project. And again, I know that he mentioned it a couple times, but it's imperative that motorists stay out of the closure. Just within the last few months, there have been a couple of, a couple of Road Commission employee deaths at both the Van Buren County Road Commission and the Berrien County Road Commission, and we really need to keep our workers and the motorists safe. So attention to that is certainly appreciated. James also mentions that that Michigan Avenue, US 12, that even beyond this project limit, so extending to the southwest on US 12, that pavement is in a deteriorated condition. That is not under our jurisdiction. Basically, the bridge that goes over I-94 and then continuing to the southwest, that is the Michigan Department of Transportation's jurisdiction. We've discussed it with them. They're well aware of the fact that that pavement needs work, but it is not within their budget at this time. So certainly we realize that to motorists, it may seem odd that we would work on just this segment of Michigan Avenue and not continue the work to improve the road going to the southwest. But again, that's not a road that's under our jurisdiction. And then we will be following up, working with our communications staff here at the Road Commission, making sure that we reach out to schools, that we reach out to emergency services, and make sure that they're aware of the upcoming closure. The closure is intended to be in place for 8 weeks. James mentions that that's part of our contract documents, that the closure is to be in place for 8 weeks. But the one thing that always is beyond our control is the weather. So if the weather would turn, it would be a poor weather condition, and that has an impact on our ability, the contractor's ability to perform the work at that time. They are entitled to an extension of contract time. So again, that's something we'll all hope for good weather, but sometimes weather will have an influence on the work site operations. So just a few additional comments there. Again, I appreciate everyone attending today.
Thank you, Aaron and James. But before we get to our question and answer portion, I would like to take you to the project update so you can find your project updates so you can see, as James is moving along in the project, as things progress. So you can find that on our website. 1 second. So when you go to Google, you go to wcroads.org, as you see here in the search column. You'll go to our project page. You go under the road work and construction tab here. You'll see current projects. Click on current projects. That page will come up. You scroll down to see the project. It's by alphabetical order, and you'll see Michigan Avenue Road Reconstruction. Click on the Michigan Avenue, and here is the project page. Here you will get all your updates. You see the virtual public meeting that is happening right now, James's contact information, a detour map. And also this is where you can subscribe to get project updates to your email. Now we will open it up for a question and answer portion from both the, from online. I have one question. Okay, so on your computer, if you're viewing the meeting on your computer, first make sure to click Join Audio. You can raise your hand by clicking the Participants or Reactions button at the bottom of your screen, and then raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen. If you dialed into the meeting from your touch-tone phone, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. As the meeting host, I will unmute participants with raised hands, one at a time. I will announce your username or last 4 digits of your phone number when it is your turn to speak. We are happy to answer as many questions as possible, but please be respectful of each other's times. If your question is answered before you're called on, you can lower your hand by clicking on the lower hand button or dialing *9. I already have a few questions here in the chat. Judy has one question here, and she says, could I ask the following question? What about the neighborhoods along Ellis Road, which is adjacent to Michigan Avenue, with that closed? We are concerned that traffic will be heavier on Ellis Road. It will be unsafe for our neighborhood.
If I'm looking at this correctly, Ellis Road is on the south side of 94, south of West Michigan Avenue. There will be increased traffic on Michigan Avenue onto the on-ramps for 94 and probably from the off-ramps of eastbound 94 as well. We don't expect any increased traffic going through Ellis Road at all. Your typical traffic would not be going that way to access the 994 intersection. But if there are issues during construction, you can definitely reach out to me, and we'll make sure to get signs or personnel out there to try to make sure to enforce a lot of this detour a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll say, Tiffany, it's certainly a reasonable question. And as James said, should there be a situation where motorists are driving in an unsafe manner on Ellis Road, that would be something that we would need to reach out to local law enforcement, to the sheriff's department, to try to get some assistance from them in that regard. Ellis Road is a public road. It's a county road. So motorists can use that should they choose to do so. But again, if they are using that road, they need to do so in a safe manner. If there's observations by the residents along Ellis Road that motorists are traveling at too high a rate of speed or driving in some other unsafe manner, then really it would be reaching out to law enforcement to try to get some support from them.
Thank you, Aaron, and thank you, James. Okay, I'm going to ask Nick to unmute so he can ask his question.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the clear presentation. I understand that the bridge crossing Michigan Avenue is MDOT responsibility and that this construction is on the north side of 94. The south side of 94, Michigan Avenue portion between US 23 and 94 was not mentioned at all in this presentation that I saw. Is that something that is on the radar for a future project as well? And is that your jurisdiction or is that also MDOT? Thanks.
Aaron, could I lead you for that question?
Sure. No, and certainly, Nick, that stretch of US 12 Michigan Avenue that extends from I-94 to the southwest going towards US 23, it's also in need of work. And that is under the jurisdiction of the Michigan DOT. So MDOT is aware of the need for the work. At this point, I'm not sure where they've worked it into their future years' budgets. But they are aware of the need for that work. So unfortunately, the Road Commission, we have no means of making an improvement there along that stretch.
Understood.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks.
I have a couple questions directly towards me on Zoom. If I could answer those real quick, Tiffany.
I was just about to get to one, but go ahead,
Okay.
James.
Yeah, I got one from Whale. He asked, will 94 East ramp be closed coming from Munger? And that will be no. If you're heading northbound on Michigan Avenue from Munger, you can still access 94 eastbound and you can still access 94 westbound on ramps. And then my second question would be to our communications team. Jeff says that he joined about 7 minutes late and he couldn't hear any audio. Will this be available to watch later?
Yes, it will be. We will post this video in the next coming few days or so. We have to get it ready for for online. I have a few questions. You're okay, James? Are you done with your question?
Yep, that's all I got.
Okay. So Mike Bloomfield asked the question of, is there a warranty for subcontractors when potholes pop up in 8 months?
There's not a warranty. So this project, based on the size of the project, the scope of the project, this is not per se warranted work. But what we do to ensure the longevity of the work that we do is we provide on-site inspection to oversee the work that's being performed by the contractor, to ensure that they do so in line with the specifications. And also we do materials testing. So in the same manner, various materials are sampled and tested to ensure that they're in line with the specifications. We follow the Michigan Department of Transportation spec book. And so, again, those are the steps that we take to try to ensure the longevity of this investment. But no, there is no warranty in place for this particular project. Sometimes on larger projects on the MDOT side, so essentially like expressway highway projects, they do have warranties in place on some of those types of projects, but not for this type.
Thank you. I have another question from Ann Mather. If I'm saying your name correct, Ann, if I'm saying it incorrectly, I apologize. She asked, why are you using asphalt instead of concrete?
So just based on the economics of the time right now, asphalt is a more cost-efficient material. And again, in one of my earlier slides, we explained that a lot of issues here we expect are from the subbase itself. So once we do correct that base, the asphalt should last a relatively long time.
And I'll say, Tiffany, in further response to that question, the cross section that we're going to construct, with it being 10 inches of limestone aggregate base and 6 inches of hot mix asphalt, is a sturdy section. Right now, this existing road is a combination of composite pavement, concrete, and then that's been overlaid with asphalt in some parts. Some parts are just concrete. But sometimes in the long term, it can be difficult to go back and repair or maintain concrete pavement. It's not to say that we don't use concrete pavement in certain instances, but sometimes there are advantages to hot mix asphalt. And we see this stretch of road there being advantage to using that type of material.
I believe I've answered all the questions so far that we have. If you have any questions left unanswered, please be sure to provide your contact information through the chat feature so the project manager can reach out to you at a later date. If you dialed into the meeting from your touchtone phone, please press 9 to raise your hand or so we can take down your information. Feel free to go to our projects page to sign up for all updates. And just as a reminder, this is an active construction site. Please, I implore you, please, to take the detour. Please don't come in the construction zone. It is an active construction zone. Thank you. Thank you so much.